Uh-oh. Something's weird here. Can you hear me? Oh, but ta-da! We'll do the usual monkey dance for 3 minutes while everybody trickles in. These screens are too small. These screens are just too small. No, you can't be here yet. You're too early. You are too early. Hey, Xmores. Thanks for the follow. Crossmores? Xmores? XMORZ? Oh, you know who you are. Shall we? Shall we? Shall we? Yeah. So, doing RAR-RS today. Second stream. Wait, where did my macro panel go? Thank you. Let me get out of the way. Transparency for the win. My flatmate has his ear on the door and is listening secretly. So, as usual, in episode 2, so we merge episode 1. And for that, let's dive straight in, right? Why don't I see what you see? Oh, no Raspberry Pi for the overlay. Status, everything's clean, so let's see. Let's actually refresh this. You're 4 commits ahead. Did they actually just turn on the music? Nope. So we added the to-do, we reformatted, we added the renderer, and we added the system from RAR-RS. So what are you gonna do? We create a pull request for episode 1 into main. And actually, can I have a look at it? So let's look at this. That was a cleanup from last time. So we added an empty to-do. Well done, my friend. We reformatted the whole bloody thing. And I think actually the order is, yeah, the order is upside down. So we added system, right? We added the whole system stuff because we wanted file system to load some stuff in, which was the main goal. Which is nice. So all of this is looking good. This is just copy and paste from Fish, so no real changes. So I'm not going to look into this. Same for renderer. We copied in the renderer from Fish, plus the needed dependencies. And actually, I'm just going to merge this and you're done. So, I didn't want to close that. And we're done, right? So let's go back to main. Rebase that and we should be fine. And now we do the same for RAR-RS, right? Ooh, we got some files. Now that's a bad boo-boo. That's why you need CI systems. So that's the data file we loaded. So probably it crashed for you. It didn't work for you at home. So sorry about that. That's why we have a build system, right? Yeah. Maybe I should add this. Oops. Add missing files. And actually what I decided to do is I tag it when I actually did it, right? It's a bit weird now. Episode. But we're in episode 2, but we're committing to episode 1. Git rebase, git branch. No, we are in episode 1. We push this, and then we do the same dance we did here, right? So let's create a pull request. Let's merge episode 1. So we hooked up the file system, just as a little recap, right? So we put on all the file system. We created a system that we need. We copied the boilerplate to add file system disk to a file system layered. We did some app setup. Basically, we created the layered file system. We add the data directory as a file system. Some debug output, we use the layered file system as the default file system. And we load from a file and read a string and output it. That looks good to me. Then we hooked up basic rendering. So that's basically the colored fragment shader, very straightforward. The colored vertex shader, also very straightforward, but passes through the color. The RAR-RS, where we just added all this stuff, where we just added the effect IDs and layer IDs, which we forgot, which we know it's in there. So this would be a, hey, what the hell did you do? Those don't exist. But we fixed that, added some mask stuff for the window code, added the renderer, the size of the viewport size, and the scaling. Added a debug renderer that we can toggle on and off cursor position time, and something just for fun. Don't forget to remove it, or you have a pixel editor like in the released game as we did in Fish. Remember Mixel? Don't tell anybody. So in the app, we initialize all of these. We create a renderer, we set it up, it needs the window and the system. The system is needed because it's loading files potentially. We register the render effect through the system. In update, yes, we count total time for the nice background effect. We check the I key. Maybe I make this a bit wider. Here, GitHub, can I get this space back here, please? Just want to move that thingy. Yeah, going pretty fast, but basically, if we don't have a debug renderer, we create one. If we have one, we destroy it. This is size handling, where we do some magic, and if we have a debug renderer, we begin the frame. We calculate the cursor position calculations. If F was pressed, we do the fun thing. More about that later. And then if we have a debug renderer, we render the fun thing. We render a line to the cursor position, and we end the frame. And then in the render, obviously, this probably should be a if-let, right? I could have fixed that off stream, but I didn't have time, so sorry, sue me. Basically, we set the size and the viewport. We begin the frame. I'm not sure where we set the size and the viewport. No lo sé, I don't know. Begin the frame, do some color magic. Clear the background, sorry, lots of noise out there. Scaling is always 0.5, I'm not sure why, because we need to fix that. Left, right, top, bottom, near, far, because we have orthographic projection matrix. For the model view projection matrix, technically, that's not fully correct, but we use it like that. Tell the debug render to render, and then just end the frame. That looks good to me too. Then we did a bit of reformatting, which we should have done before the commit, but that's all automatic, so just spaces and tabs and stuff. And then we added the empty to-do. Yep. And then we did the missing files. Basically the effect IDs and the layer IDs and the test file. So I think I will merge this. I merge this, we keep all the branches so you can follow along what happened in which episode. Gonna do git checkout main, update this, rebase based on this, and then I do a cargo run. I'll just do a run. And I have to press I to get the cursor thing, and if I press F for fun, it will remember the lines for that, right? We played with that. That's just to demonstrate that the debug renderer is actually working. And we did have some. This is so stupid. Why do I even waste time with this? But it proves the point, right? It's always the simple things. This is fun, right? And I can toggle off the debug renderer and on. And you see the render stats here. It's still just one render batch, one render material. So all good performance should be fine. So that's the catch up to episode 1. Now, all this fun is all fun and games, but not really what I want. So what I really want is, so this is the app, and I hope we don't have to touch our game today. If we look at fish, right? Do I really want to go through an entity manager today? Yeah, kind of. I want. Is it too early? Let's not do this. All I want today is deadness. No, that's too much. All I want today is a sprite on the screen, right? So we have to do some boilerplate for that. I'm sorry about that, but for example, if we look at the fish, right? So we want a name, we want a position. Fish was never an entity, was it? Bad example. Oh, fish is an entity. Fish is an entity. I don't know why we get the entity data, why we did it like that. Oh, because we cannot subclass. Okay. And then we have an SAny and smute. Maybe we do the entity stuff and just have one entity and not the manager of it. Because an entity has data, it is castable, SAnyable, it has a setup, that's fine, has a tear down, an update, a render, a name, and an entity type. That doesn't sound half bad, right? And the question is, I think we keep the entity stuff game specific for now because I'm not 100% sure. So we create entities. So step 1, git checkout branch episode 002, right? Check out the days you cannot type. Almost. Oh, it's amazing, right? Yes, we want to push this. Just in case somebody created that branch already, I like to push it right away instead of making a mess. So, what did we say? We want an entity and we want a player entity, right? probably an entity. We want to copy as much as we can from fish, right? Maybe we should start with a background. But the background in fish is relatively complex. So I would probably steal the fish as a foundation. If entity data, and we have this entity update context. This is a time step. Ooh, this is the world movement, okay. In fish, we moved the world. We're probably not going to do that. We might add the debug renderer. Let's keep it simple. We want the time step, right? That's all. And that is all. I wonder how we do, if we do the control handling a bit differently, because in fish, in the update, so in fish we had the direction here, right? The player direction. And that direction was, so we had an explicit turn down and turn up. So we could pass in the whole keyboard state, so the entity itself could handle its input. And I'm not sure how I want to do the input mapping yet. Right now I just want to render this thing on screen, right? So we don't worry about it at all. So we need entity, So let's create a bit of structure, right? Technically, I wonder if yeah. Entities, right? And then we need actually let's cheat, right? We said we base this on fish, so let's see how much boilerplate we get away with. So we want to copy the entity. What is the entity configuration? ID. Where is this actually used? Or was this one of our dead ends? Ah, it was in the zones. Okay. I think we skip that part for now. I mean, the setup gets the entity configuration, so probably we keep that part. And it has an animated texture configuration to be cleaned up. It has an ID, it has a type, it has a size, and the configuration for the animated vector. And this is where it gets ugly, because this load is just a pile of... Can we not do it this way, please? But I only have 2 hours today, so I'm not going to fix the world. Okay, so let's copy this over. We will clean it up in the target. We need the entity IDs. So, do we need them? Do we need the entity IDs, or do we just need the entity types? Well, And then we copy over the fish, but rename it, right? Too many buttons. And since I'm ultra lazy, I'm also going to copy this, right? These two. Nope. These two entities and RS. I wonder if my microphone is working correctly. I'm having some wind noise on it and I'm inside. So, enough stealing. We probably need to fix this up, right? So, these two, obviously. So the entity configuration goes one folder above, right? I wonder if the IDs should be. Let's not overthink this. Let's not clean up everything. So, but can you please update? Can you please refresh? I have to black you for a second, sorry. Oh, probably didn't need to, but I just reopened the project. I wish there was a quick reopen and okay, now this looks better, right? So entities. Entity data, entity state. What is entity state? Where did entity state come from? Oh, okay. It has a state. Make it work. And then clean it up. And this is going to be interesting. Okay. So we keep this for the moment. We keep this. We keep the ID. We keep this. We will mod player pop use player. I think that is enough, right? The S is not needed if the last one is the previous one. And then in lib, we just say pub mod entities, and you could argue about the protection here. It's here. Oh, it's why? It's right here. Oh, wait, wrong place. Tell me. It's inside RAR. This is going to fall apart all over the place. And we really need to reduce the number of debug render. I don't care, I just care about errors right now. Maybe it helps to save this file. Can you please stop at the first arrow? This is better. Entity configuration is here, right? Entity configuration is in the same folder as the entities, right? See, now I'm confused. My headset is just driving me crazy at the moment. Give me a second. Can you still hear me? Yes, no, maybe. Can you? Hello? Can you stay off? Thank you. Thank you. Now, okay, because it's in entities RS, it's the, okay. Move entity. Let's just pretend for the moment, right? Oh, player. Player is going to be interesting, right? Player, cause we copied this from Fish. Oh, this is great. The effect IDs are here, right? So this is RAR. And basically all of these are RAR. Thank you. This is OML game. Same, right? Let's ignore the player state and the up, down, and this is player now, right? We have far too much state. We're gonna clean that up in a second. Right now, I just wanted to compile. Reduce the debug noise, right? So, whoa. Can you stop at the first error, please? File not found entity manager. Okay. I know, because we said we don't want the entity manager right now, right? That's something for next time. Now I wish I could stop at the first error. Layer IDs we had, right? Layer IDs. So let's create a player layer. Let's create a player layer on layer 5. We can We can change this later, right? No problems. 309, and this is layer ID player. I'm going from the bottom now. So entity type was not found. And that is in entity configuration, right? Right. There. Oh. Yeah, that's not what not super focused today. The usual confusion. And that is an entity RS, because this is RAR. RAR. Probably could be common in the next game, but not yet. Where does entity update context live? Will we move this into entities? Everything entity related goes into entities? I mean, where is the entity update context hooked up? In fish. How did this ever work? So, oh. We could do that. I could just put this in RAR. Right? Game state. Entity update context has a game state. Yeah, no, I want to. So the game state is out of the question, right? Set game state and get game state is history for now. We don't need the background state. We don't need the, well, we can keep the time step, but we don't need the world movement, right? I could have just deleted all of this, but and I did save. Fish. Oh yeah, let's grid the player of the fish, right? Let's say we have it idle, right? Idle dying dead. And we have left and right for the moment. Of course, angle, we don't need the angle, we just have a position. The state, we have a direction, speed, movement, times it's dying. All this looks good. So the name is player, whatever we call him, right? Him, her, them. Spawn pos is smack in the center of the screen, right? And this should come from a config file. The position is 0. Angle is gone. Size to be decided. Player state is dead. Player direction. Let's pretend we always start right. And the speed is currently 0, right? Times is dying. All this sounds good. So always start right. We always start right. We don't have a turn down or a turn up. Let's not do this at the moment, right? There has to be, we don't have an angle that is for the fish swimming up and down. Update waiting for start, that's fine. Update swimming. Doop 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 doop. Update dying. We don't care about any of this right now, right? And then here's the boilerplate. This will be interesting. This will be interesting. Tear down update. Maybe we have a player's. No, let's just don't do anything. Debug renderer should be fine. We don't have an angle, so we don't need to rotate. Right? And on render, if we're dead, nothing to be rendered, otherwise. This is. I'm not happy about this here, but. And then we render the quad. Probably we can get rid of the rotation here. But right now I just want to make it compile. Debug renderer, entity update context. Why? Entity update context line 27. Shouldn't it tell me that it doesn't know how to? The debug renderer is not in the crate, right? The debug renderer is here. So it's OML game. Probably here, I would say. Oh, we have to work on our re-exports. And Rust has to work on their error codes. So if we go here and go into the renderer, render textured quad, right? We have the textured quad with rotation and we have the textured quad. So we just use the textured quad here because we don't have a rotation in this game. Makes it easier. All right? Step by step. Okay, everything angle in this file is obviously wrong. Everything angle, yeah. Maybe we just remove this for good. Oh, fine. Entity update context mass. Yes, because this is OML game. Hopefully the last time we have to fix that. Entity configuration. It's a bit of changing stuff because we changed the structure and then an entity Wow. Nice. Nice. So what I really want to do, and we didn't have to touch OML game, which is nice. So can you? So we want to stage this. We want to stage this. Nope. And that's all right. Probably we can git ignore the target. Might help. Oh. That's better. So and this is episode ignore target folder. But this is a secondary, right? So this is episode 0002. Brains. Yeah, I wish I had one. Brains. This is add entities based on RAR-RS. Could have made 2 commits out of that, but that's fine with me. So we're still not rendering anything, right? So I want to hard code rendering the player. Just for today. Just for today. So we have the app, right? So what if we say we have, yeah, that's what I wanted. Use create RAR entities player, right? And then what if we just have a player by default? And if we look at the player, we have a setup, right? So we can just create the player and then set it up. So here we just say player is player new, right? And then in the setup, we say, when everything is set up, we say self.player.setup, and that needs some stuff, right? So it needs the entity configuration. Well, it doesn't really need the entity configuration. So can we get away with creating an empty one? Not really. Oh, we have an entity configuration manager. So we can get the entity configuration by name, which is probably the better solution. So let's also pull this in, right? Wait, what? We have an entity configuration manager that lives in entity configuration. Who the? Okay, it's reported in entities. So we can use that. So entity configuration manager auto format will fix this, right? And then the entity configuration manager had a load, right? Which needs system and a name. And then we can use get config based on the CRC for that. Not a fan. This needs some cleanup, so I want to open the to-do and actually start adding load entity configuration from file, right? Just so we don't forget what we've been doing, but don't get sidetracked. So here, before we set up the player, what we can do is self.entity configuration manager load. That needs self.system. Did it need mutable system? Probably yes, because yeah, it might change files, right? And it needs a name, and that name is to-do file name, right? And then we can ask the entity configuration manager, give me a contract, right? Get config, and that config is the one we need for the player. So what we could do is the player setup needs the entity configuration, right? So we could just say self.entity configuration manager.get config, and we just say player. Now let's use all lowercase tags and get config. Downside, get config wants a CRC. Could just pass in entity ID player, right? We'll need to fix that in a second. So we could say that means we go into entity IDs and say player equals bad food to do fix me use correct CRC. I think we did that before, right? But in theory this should compile, it will still fail, right? Unresolved import. Oh, that's a new one. Missing colons. I thought autocomplete did best for us. Okay, we need to get the trait into scope. Fair enough. Otherwise, we can't use the trait. Didn't we just? Oh, okay. More errors, more errors. Entity ID needs to be in scope. Where do entity? Yeah. Yes, please, entity ID. So it's in entities, right? So why don't you tell me? I can just shouldn't it tell me I can just use that? Entity ID, right? Okay. And then entity configuration manager, which is also re-exported, right? Yeah, so we can do the same thing here. I just want to start cleaning this up in the hope that the auto format won't undo my work, but probably remove the trailings. We're not rendering yet, I know, but we still got time. Wait, what? Found enum. Okay, that's fair, but didn't we have a... Wait. No, we pass in entity IDs. Okay. Yeah, that's not... You can just do SU32. In theory. In theoretical. But this... Yeah, it wants to do 32. Okay. This will fail now. I know this will fail. Yeah. Warning, no configuration found for bad food. But we can fix that, right? So man, this thing probably should be hierarchical. I want to rewrite the whole configuration manager, config management thing, but let's just say we have player, right? Entity type is probably player for the player. It's 128 by 128, and this is just player. And this is frame animation stuff, right? So I just want to get rid of this one arrow. It will still fail, but it didn't show the error, right? So it loaded the configuration. We still have nothing to render, but we have this object, right? Step by step. So player setup worked. So what I want to do here is somewhere at the end, here. Right, and this probably needs a player update context. This needs an entity update context. So let entity update context equals entity update entity update context new, and we just pass in the default. I don't care, right? And the entity wants the immutable OIC. I have no idea why this wants to be mutable, but so that's the player update, right? And then we also have a render that we call it render, right? So somewhere here, here, and that also wants the mutable renderer, right? That wants a mute renderer. We could turn it around and pass the entity with the render function to the renderer, but this is the way it is, right? And basically, we don't do the tear down. Well, we can do the tear down, right? Self.player.tear down. And the tear down, the tear down doesn't do anything, but just in case, right? Probably could make the player an option, but since it's going to be moved into the entity manager anyway at some point. Oh, yeah, we use the entity update context without declaring that we use it. Okay, fair enough. Fair enough. As I said, we're going to move a bit faster on this project till we get to the point where it's getting interesting. Right now, wait, what? Oh, we just remove this here, right? Because renderer is already a mute reference, so we don't have to tell it that it is one. And now, in theory, oh, we can, if we press I, we never spawned the player, right? Because the player, if I look at the player, the initial state is dead. So we never make it alive. So what if we say player state idle, right? Because down here we say if we update, no, if we render and we're dead, we don't do anything, right? Which is a bit. We also don't have a textured quad, but this should render him. Where's our fish? Is our fish being updated? Our fish, yeah. New game, sorry. New game, this is not about fish. Tracing. Okay. So it's spamming 00128 and it doesn't have a texture. It's alive. Where's the state? The state is dead. Okay. State is dead. So what if we tell the app on the initialize? We could add a spawn button or something, but I don't want to overcomplicate it just to render something, right? So self player dot go to state player state idle, right? Because here player state idle. We haven't imported the player state, right? Oh, that's not how we do it. Okay, go to state is internal, so we just respawn him, right? We don't even need to. We just respawn him. Oh, texture not found. Texture not found. User error. Well, yeah, duh. I mean, texture not found. So that's good. That's good. That's what we want. Because this texture doesn't exist, right? So we need to create a texture. And what I want to do. Don't ask me why I'm using GIMP instead of Krita. Thank you. Very, very helpful. Are you loaded? What network volume? Where are you searching for plugins, my friend? And why this ugly full screen splash screen? So file, new. Let's say we set 128 by 128, right? I am not an artist. So I am not an artist. So what do we do? How do we? Let's just say edit fill with foreground color, right? So this is our player idle. No? Okay. Okay, because I like you. That is our player idle, right? And we have a player idle left, right? So file export as. I'm sorry. Where is RAR? So I'm going to just save it here and then move it. So this is player. Do we idle? Is it write first or? Okay. And then we say image. Oh, they changed the interface. dialogue to ask me if I really want to quit is in the other room. So, because what we really need to do is, now it's getting interesting. RAR, remember data is content, so RAR content, entities, player. And let's say we have, yeah, that's it. So we move the player idle right to RAR content entities player. We have OMT atlas, right? So what we can do is combine. Output is RAR data let's make it simple, right? Player atlas dash percent d dot d input. I'm not sure if I remember the syntax correct, but probably percent 202d. I don't remember what was supported. Input is RAR content entities player. Basically every PNG in this folder, right? And the size is, let's say 64, it should fail, because how do you fit 128 pixels at 64? Image doesn't fit, right? So let's make this 128. And then if we look in not fish in RAR data, there's the player atlas. Oh, it's not percent. Let's just not have wildcards in here, right? Let's just call it 0. And if you open RAR data, you look at the player atlas here. Oh, look, we have a file in there. Nice, right? Content cooking needs to be automated. Good point. Add content cooking script. For now, we're good enough, right? So we need to load. We need to load it. Right here, we register the effects. Oh, thanks for breaking that over 3 lines. I really like you. I really don't want it like as. Yep, I really want it like as. Yes, I am. I was just asked if I'm streaming. I am. So if we go to fish, if we go to the fish app, we just need to load texture atlas, right? So I really would love to tell it, don't break that line, but, and that is basically this, right? Player atlas 0, but we leave the percent in there, right? So, sorry. Texture atlas not found, yeah, because we have to import it if we use it, right? SRST, there she goes. And this will still fail because I'm not able to type because the texture fish swim 0 is not found, right? Because that's not the name of the texture. The name of the texture is player idle right. Player idle right? With a dash at the end, so entity configuration, this is where we cheated, right? Oh, it's even hard-coded. It's even hard-coded here, right? This is obviously not the texture, not the thing we want, because the render effect is not found, right? So we have to add the render effect, and probably the render effect we want is textured, which makes sense, right? So I'm gonna be a bit lazy. We could just copy this, or we could just copy this here. Right, so this is textured. This will fail because these two don't exist, but you know what we do in this case, right? This is fish data. I'm kind of I'm going to steal them from the data for the moment and just put them in RAR data. Oh, wrong. There they are, right? So I just copy them in here. Needs to be cooked, but I don't want to go this far today. And if I do a cargo run now, we have our sprite on screen. Lots of boilerplate, but new project setup is always a bit annoying. So sorry about that. So obviously, I want a left and a right, right? So image, magic, flip, image. I probably should know that, but I forgot. Flop, flip, gm convert dash flip dot dot rar content to dot dot raw content entities player idle left. And then we have to recook the content. So I'm going to script this, right? Oh no, I don't want to create two atlases. I just want to create one. Oh, maybe I should have done flop instead of flip. Maybe I should have done flop instead of flip after reading the documentation. Why? I didn't plan it this way, but I'm like, yeah, let's do this. We could have just used rotation, but so if I just go back to RAR-RS and say cargo run, we still have the sprite, right? And the nice thing is the scaling also works. Obviously, anti-aliasing and pixel stuff is gonna bite us a bit later, but we will fix this, right? I just want to remove some of the noise here because this is not needed, right? Obviously, this is debug build. Maybe we run a release build. Should be even faster, obviously, if we have to compile the release build now. So while we wait for this, what I will do offline is I will add all the rendered effects that we need. I mean, basically, we need the default, we need the white, we need the color textured, font, and background. So I'll just copy them all in the right places. Thank you. I'm as lost as you are. And that's probably it, right? So all of this is working. What I want to do today, and I'm going to commit this now. So this will be done off stream. I copy them all and probably add a little cook script because that's just boring boilerplate. To do add content cooking script. So add standard render effects. Right? That's what I will do offline. What we will do after committing this. So we updated the to-do file, we did the entity thing, we hack patched this, Maybe I generate oh, that's actually a good idea. Create auto generate. What was I about to say? CRCs in enums or get rid of them. Because we could just use strings, it's fast enough. We don't. The thing is, we use this CRC approach that we've seen here because it's faster to look up than a string, but we do this once, so nobody actually cares, and this is not a Nintendo DS, this is a fast machine, so yeah. Added the idle state, texture atlas, and I'm gonna add the content and the baked stuff for now, and the thingies, right? We should probably add the .ts store to the git ignore. I'm not sure that this file that Windows macOS creates. Oh, it's store. I don't know why I'm. So no, I'm still getting used to this. So add basic entity handling. Add simple player entity. and it's all pushed. But I do some off-stream stuff that counts for episode 002, right? So what I want to do, I want to move this thing left and right, right? So we have two options. We could control this player from the outside and give it a move right, move left. Or what I'm thinking is we have this entity update context, right? What if that had an input I don't want to overkill this. I have about half an hour left, so we make it simple, right? We make it control left bool, control right bool. Let's say we have a control direct. We have a player. I don't want to call it player, but let's, and this is a I8, right? It's just left or right. I want to have a full input mapping thingy layer there. So add input mapping, which basically means even if I press right on the joypad, it can be mapped to jump, or if I press left on the joypad, it's mapped to right, or if I press A, it's left, and D is right. So I want to add a mapping layer, but I don't want to do that now, so I just add the player direction here. The player direction is 0 by default. Just gonna copy this because it's close enough. So, time step is player direction. Time step is right. So we have a getter and a setter for the player direction. So within the app, before we do the update, right here, remember we have this entity update context. We can just say oig dot set time step is, do we have a time step? We have a book time step. Let's use that. We can do this, right? And then we can say, and this would be chainable, but I'm going to do it different. So I'm going to say if book was key pressed, and this is hard coded. If we go left, then we say oig set direction. Player direction is negative. Then we copy this whole block and say else if we go right, it's positive. Yeah, I know. Else, I'm not a fan of these braces. Else, we just set it to 0. This is a hack, right? This is a mega hack. I probably just messed it up. Oh, if we chain it, we have to say oi, right? Not happy about the chainability in this case. Non-ideal, but wait. Let player direction equal. Let's detangle this, right? -1, 1, and 0. And here we just say dot set player direction is player direction. We could just chain it inside here, but for debugging this might be nicer. And that's the semicolon I always forget. So now the player knows if he's going left or right, right? In theory. So what we could do is, we have a player direction, right? And we say in update, let's create an update idle. Give me a second. This will need a state machine. This is not good to hard code this here, right? This is not good to hard code it here, but idle. And in idle, we basically say if void.player direction, no. I almost wrote C code again. So if it's 0, we set self.speed to 0, right? Because we had the speed in here. I'm abusing the hell out of this system, right? If it's -1, we set speed to, I don't know, -10 to be defined. And we set self.direction. Why didn't you left? Right? Yeah, left, right, left, right. This should not be hard-coded here. And then the movement is movement.y is right. This shouldn't do anything yet. This probably will never do anything. We should decide if these are F32. In any other case, we just do nothing. We're abusing direction. We could have made it an enum or something. Why are you trying to find player idle right 002? Oh, it's the animated texture. Because maybe we don't tick this texture. So obviously the movement does nothing, because self dot position right, maybe. If I could only overload, and probably this is borrowed. What did I miss? So either this is not working, oh, it's only true for one frame because I have key was pressed. Where's the frickin' book? Um, so we have is key pressed, right? Was key pressed is debounced. And is key pressed is not. So we need to ta-da, 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 ta-da. I mean, this is simpler, right? This is just, we don't want the debouncing for that. So here we want the update. We want is key pressed instead of do not handle your input like this. This is just a hack to show the animation and stuff for today, okay? So right, left, that works, right? That works. Now, question, are we even idle? I highly doubt that the player, so we initialize the player state, right? We initialize the player state to dead. And then in update, we say, we never get out of dead, right? Well, we said we respawn, and that means wait for start. And update wait for start stays in wait for start forever. So I would say in wait for start, if player, if like the player direction is not 0, so if we start moving, let me say self go to state, player state, idle, idle. We could do the whole spawn logic here to do start logic, timers, etc. Let me go to player state idle. And if we go to idle, we set the state to idle. That's good. And then we should hit this in the next update, right? So as soon as we touch a button, things will start happening. And they don't. Remember this line here? Let's see what that is saying. So spawn pass, size, direction right, speed is 10. Movement is 0.13, fair enough. Prefix, number of digits, first frame, number of frames 27. How do you arrive at number of frames 27? So I have to, this is, I understand this, but 27? Where does the 27 come from? What I don't get is why the position stays 0. I mean, we say self pos add, right? So the position should we add the movement, right? Maybe our speed is too low. I mean, that's pixels per second, right? So should be plenty. So the position stay who set pause. So our position should be changing, right? I want to remove this again. It's hot in here. Why? Oh, ouch. Because vector 2 adds in place. So no, it returns a new vector. We throw away the result of the addition. And obviously, I want to move an X, right? Right, left, right, left. 100 pixels a second. We could argue too slow, too fast, to be honest. For the moment, I don't care. But I want the dot to look into the walking direction, right? And I have 10 minutes and I can make that happen. Because, okay, we remove this. That's easy, right? So when we render, and this probably needs to be much smarter than this. We say match self.direction, and this player direction right. Then we use this. And if the player direction is a left, we use this. Obviously, we need to have two directions. And data structures, let's call this idle right and idle left. That means idle right, and then copy this line and use idle left. And then in the setup, idle right and idle left. And then obviously down here, it's idle. That's what you get when you're too lazy to type, right and left. All of this probably should be config and not hard-coded, but right, left. And maybe we remove the debug here. Where was the debug here? And the nice thing is, if I had time, here's what I will do. So off stream, I'm gonna put in all the render effects, and what I will also do is to do so this is OS. Let's do it like this. These two I'll definitely do off stream, and what I will also do, add a dummy idle animation. That's something I can do in between things, right? So my flatmate is going to kick me out in a few minutes, so I'm going to commit this, and actually, remember, add getter for pressed keys. And this is, yes, episode 0002. Git rebase. I should have done that earlier, but in case somebody created that branch, but nobody did. So this is this, and we could have done it here, yes. So update to do, add left, right textures, episode 002, add simple left, right movement for player. If you look back at this and say, so, you know what I forgot? Before the commit, okay, no changes here, which is nice. This probably will be a different story. Git diff. Did I? No, I did the right one there. So it kills my formatting, fine. And even sure, it's probably replacing spaces with tabs, which is nice. Not so happy about this space here, to be honest. And I hate it when they remove this space. So some people hate readability in code. I don't know why. we decided on these rules, so we stick with these rules. Git commit and fix formatting. All of this, as always, is on GitHub. You can follow along, just be careful. There's a relative parse in the cargo toml here. The path to OML game is relative, so you have to check this out in the right location, and you have to check out the matching episode. Once OML game starts to stabilize, I'll make a crate out of it and push it, and then things are different. But for now, it is the way it is. And with that, wait. Long window. Oh, cute. Why are you so small? Ooh. Where's this? Let me check real quick. Who is streaming Rust? What is he doing? I hate the new interface. I hate the new interface. It was lovely for you to be here. I am out. See you maybe on Sunday, maybe on Tuesday. Have fun.